Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips has been hit with a fresh wave of fury after blasting a Tory who missed yesterday's debate on tackling violence against women and girls. Phillips, who came under fire after rejecting a request for a national grooming gangs inquiry, is in receiving fresh heat and has been destroyed in the process. In today's video, we will be watching and reacting to this, all whilst going over all of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. Just a quick one to say we do have t-shirts available on our website. We have stuck farmer and Make Britain Great Again ones. Make sure you check the link in the description or go to britishstand.com. Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips has been hit with a fresh wave of fury after blasting a Tory who missed yesterday's debate on tackling violence against women and girls. Phillips has been sat with her tail between her legs all week as she has cried and played the victim following Elon Musk's comments. I mean, look at her face.
In response to the reports and failings in Rotherham 10 years ago, it's something that the Prime Minister first called for 12 years ago, based on his experience as Director for Public Prosecutions. And the case was clear then, but we've lost a decade and we need to get on with it now. Second, we'll also legislate to make grooming an aggravating factor in the sentencing of child sexual offences, because the punishment must fit the terrible crime. And third, we will overhaul the information and evidence that is gathered on child sexual abuse and exploitation and embed it in a clear new performance framework for policing, so these crimes are taken far more seriously. The independent inquiry recommended as one of its first recommendations a single core data set on child abuse and protection, but that's never been done. We'll introduce a single child identifier in the Children Wellbeing Bill and a much stronger police performance framework, including new standards on public protection, child abuse and exploitation. We're accelerating the work of the Child Sexual Exploitation Police Task Force, set up rightly under the previous government, and there has been a 25% increase in arrests between July and September of this year. That sits alongside the tackling organisation.
Following this, in Parliament, Jess Phillips attacked Alicia Kearns for not being in Parliament. She just responded stating she was ill in hospital, and this was well known across Parliament. Jess Phillips is not a nice person. Here is the video.
The first person I'm going to respond to is the minister opposite. And sorry, the shadow. No, she's not actually the shadow minister. The shadow minister in this brief isn't here.
Following this, the Tory MP replied on social media saying, "Yes, Jess Phillips. I wasn't at the debate yesterday. I was at the hospital. Your colleagues know I've been away from Parliament for medical reasons, but you chose to attack me. So much for standing by women." Our Shadow Cabinet Secretary for Women spoke and did an excellent job. This how people reacted. This user said, "Awful behaviour. Even the ladies behind are not impressed." This user said, "Hi Jess Phillips. You seem to be very, very agitated and irate in Parliament at the moment. I really think you should consider stepping down to get the professional help that you clearly need." Robert said, "This is absolutely appalling. Just when it seems Labour couldn't stoop any lower, they somehow managed to. Jess Phillips, I hope you're truly ashamed of yourself. Alicia, I hope you're okay." Lee said, "Oi Jess, this is how we all see you. Evil radiates out of your pores. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments." In other news, Britain came dangerously close to power blackouts this week as freezing temperatures gripped the nation, forcing the National Energy System Operator, NESO, to request emergency power generation. NESO called on power plant owners to produce an additional 1,700 megawatts of electricity, equivalent to the output of 3 gas-fired power plants, to maintain normal safety margins across England, Scotland and Wales. The request came as temperatures plunged below zero across much of Britain. NESO was quick to downplay concerns, emphasising there was no immediate threat to power supplies. A NESO spokesperson said yesterday, "Both of these notices are part of NESO's operational toolkit and are routine tools used most winters." The spokesperson added that the notices were simply to inform the energy industry about the need for additional electricity supplies to maintain operational reserves. These notices do not mean that electricity supplies are at risk or that there is not enough electricity to meet demand, they stated. However, energy expert Catherine Porter issued a stark warning about the situation's severity. She told the media it was probably the tightest day on the system in more than 15 years. And what's actually quite concerning is that it was 8:30 p.m. Two large power stations tripped off simultaneously, and that took 2,000 megawatts off the grid. The GB power market came within a whisker of blackouts. If that had happened 3 hours earlier, during the evening peak, there would have been a very high likelihood of blackouts. When asked why that was the case, Porter replied, "We've been replacing conventional generation with renewables. And obviously, the problem is that when it's not windy, and it's obviously not sunny, because the peak of demand in the winter happens at night time, the sun has already set, so you get zero contribution from solar power." Late on Tuesday, NESO issued an electricity margin notice warning of a potential system margin shortfall of 1,120 megawatts for Wednesday evening. The notice was issued as Britain entered a cold weather snap, coinciding with peak electricity demand times. NESO also issued a capacity market notice, which was later cancelled. Under this scheme, generators receive payments to ensure power generation availability during high-demand periods. In the event of potential blackouts, the government would provide up to 48 hours' notice to allow households to prepare. Any power cuts would typically last no more than 3 hours at a time, though this could vary depending on circumstances. Lastly, Prince William has been criticised by a royal commentator for missing former US President Jimmy Carter's funeral, choosing instead to mark Princess Kate's 43rd birthday. The Prince of Wales opted to remain in Britain on Thursday, posting a tribute to his wife's strength on social media. He said in a statement, "To the most incredible wife and mother. The strength you've shown over the last year has been remarkable. George, Charlotte, Louis and I are so proud of you. Happy birthday, Catherine. We love you." W. Prince Edward, 14th in line to the throne, represented the royal family at the Washington, D.C. ceremony, where Carter has been lying in state at the Capitol building. The decision to send Edward, rather than the heir to the throne, has raised questions about missed diplomatic opportunities. Royal author Ingrid Seward told Newsweek that while Edward was a carefully considered choice, Americans would have preferred William. Seward suggested Kate would not have prevented William from attending such an important event. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.